Hello, this is John T. Rhapsodes Esquire, purveyor of awesome old-school audio stories, bringing you a funny one today from 1905 called The Lost Blend by William Sidney Porter, better known as O.Henry. O.Henry walked the earth from 1862 to 1910, mostly in Texas and New York. The music you're hearing was actually recorded in 1905, the same year this story was published. The song is called The Troubadour by Sousa's band. Before getting to the story, however, I posed the question to the listener: how much would you pay for a taste of the Lost Blend? Hear the words of old. The Lost Blend from 1905 by O.Henry. Since some Christian denominations have blessed the bar by now, especially those of the Reformed persuasion, and since cocktails open the dinners of many Reformed elect, it is now permissible to speak of the saloon publicly. Teetotalers need not listen to a story involving a saloon if they choose. There is always the slot restaurant, where a dime dropped into the cold bouillon aperture will bring forth a dry martini. Con, short for Conrad, Lantry, worked on the sober side of the bar in Keneally's Cafe. You and I stood, one-legged like geese, on the other side of the bar and went into voluntary liquidation with our week's wages. Opposite danced Con, clean, temperate, clear-headed, polite, white-jacketed, punctual, trustworthy, young, responsible, and took our money. The saloon, whether blessed or cursed, stood in one of those little places in New York City, which are parallelograms instead of streets, and inhabited by laundries, decayed Knickerbocker families, and bohemians who have nothing to do with either. Over the cafe lived Keneally and his family in an apartment. His daughter Catherine had eyes of dark Irish. But why should you be told? Be content with your Geraldine or your Eliza Ann, for it was Con that dreamed of Catherine. And when she called softly at the foot of the back of the stairs for the pitcher of beer for dinner, his heart went up and down like a milk punch in the shaker. Orderly and fit are the rules of romance, and if you hurl the last shilling of your fortune upon the bar for whiskey, the bartender shall take it, and marry his boss's daughter, and good will grow out of it. But not so for Con, for in the presence of woman he was tongue-tied and scarlet. The same Con who could quell with a mere look the sonorous and loud youth whom the claret punch made loquacious, or smash with lemon squeezer the obstreperous, or hurl gutterward the cantankerous without a wrinkle coming to his white lawn tie, was the same Con that, when he stood before a woman, he was voiceless, incoherent, stuttering, and buried beneath a hot avalanche of bashfulness and misery. What then was Con before Catherine? A trembler, with no word to say for himself, a stone without blarney, the dumbest lover that ever babbled of the weather in the presence of his divinity. One day there came to Keneally's Cafe two sunburned men, Riley and McQuirk. The two men had conference with Keneally, and then they took possession of a back room which they filled with bottles and siphons and jugs and druggists' measuring glasses. All the appurtenances and liquids of a saloon were there, but they dispensed no drinks. All day long, Riley and McQuirk sweltered in the back room of Keneally's cafe, pouring and mixing unknown brews and decoctions from the liquors in their store. Riley had the education, and he figured on reams of paper, reducing gallons to ounces and quarts to fluid drams. McQuirk, a morose man with a red eye, dashed each unsuccessful completed mixture into the waste pipes with curses gentle, husky, and deep. They labored heavily and untiringly to achieve some mysterious solution, like two alchemists striving to resolve gold from the elements. One evening when his shift was done, Con sauntered into Keneally's back room. His professional curiosity as a barman had been stirred by these two occult bartenders at whose bar none drank, and who daily drew upon Keneally's supply of liquors to follow their consuming and fruitless experiments. Down the back stairs came Catherine, with her smile like sunrise on Guabara Bay in Ireland. "Good evening, Mr. Lantry," Catherine said to Con. "And what is the news today, if you please?" It looks like, rain," stammered the shy Con, backing to the wall. "It couldn't do better," said Catherine. "I'm thinking there's nothing the worse off for a little water." Con proceeded to the back room and saw Riley and McQuirk toiling like bearded witches over their strange compounds. From 50 bottles they drew liquids carefully measured after Riley's figures, and shook the whole together in a great glass vessel. Then McQuirk would dash it out with gloomy profanity, and they would begin again. Con asked what they were doing. "Sit down and I'll tell you," said Riley to Con. "Last summer, me and Tim concludes that an American bar in the nation of Nicaragua would pay handsomely. There was a town on the coast where there's nothing to eat but quinine and nothing to drink but rum. The natives and the foreigners lay down with chills and get up with fevers, and a good mixed drink is nature's remedy for all such tropical inconveniences. So we lays in a fine stock of wet goods in New York, and bar fixtures and glassware, and we sailed for that Santa Palma town on a lime steamer. On the way, me and Tim sees flying fish and plays 7-up cards with the captain and steward, and already begins to feel like the highball kings of the tropics of Capricorn. When we gets within 5 hours of the country that we was going to introduce to long drinks and short change, the captain calls us over to the starboard binnacle and recollects a few things. "I forgot to tell you boys," says he, "that Nicaragua slapped an import duty of 48% ad valorem on all bottled goods last month. It seems the president took a bottle of Cincinnati hair tonic by mistake for Tabasco sauce, and he's getting even. Barrel goods is free, though." "Sorry you didn't mention it sooner," says we, and we bought 2 42-gallon barrels from the captain, and opened every bottle we had and dumped the stuff all together in the barrels. That 48% would have ruined us, so we took the chances on making that $1,200 cocktail rather than throw the stuff away. Well, when we landed, we tapped one of the barrels. The mixture was something heartrending. It was the color of a plate of Bowery pea soup, and it tasted like one of those coffee substitutes your aunt makes you take for the heart trouble you get by picking losers. We gave a man 4 fingers of it to try it, and he lay under a tree 3 days beating the sand with his heels and refused to sign a testimonial. But the other barrel. Say, bartender, did you ever put on a straw hat with a yellow band around it and go up in a balloon with a pretty girl with $8 million in your pocket, all at the same time? That's what 30 drops of it would make you feel like. Why, with 2 fingers of it inside you, you would bury your face in your hands and cry because there wasn't anything more worthwhile around for you to do. Yes, sir, the stuff in that second barrel was a distilled elixir of battle, money, and high life. It was the color of gold and as clear as glass, and it shone after dark like the sunshine was still in it. Even 1,000 years from now, you'll not get a drink like that across the bar. Well, we started up business with that one line of drinks, and it was enough. The gentry of that country stuck to it like a hive of bees. If that barrel had lasted, that country would have become the greatest on earth. When we opened up in the mornings, we had a line of generals and colonels and ex-presidents and revolutionists a block long waiting to be served. We started in at 50 cents silver a drink. The last 10 gallons went easy at $5 a gulp. It was wonderful stuff. It gave a man courage and ambition and nerve to do anything. At the same time, he didn't care whether his money was tainted or fresh from the ice trust. When that barrel was half gone, Nicaragua had repudiated the national debt, removed the duty on cigarettes, and was about to declare war on the United States and England. 'Twas by accident we discovered this king of drinks, and 'twill be by good luck if we strike it again. For 10 months we've been trying. Small lots at a time, we've mixed barrels of all the harmful ingredients known to the profession of drinking. You could have stocked 10 bars with the whiskeys, brandies, cordials, bitters, gins, and wines me and Tim have wasted. A glorious drink like that to be denied to the world. 'Tis a sorrow and a loss of money. The United States as a nation would welcome a drink of that sort, and pay for it. All the while, McQuirk had been carefully measuring and pouring together small quantities of various spirits, as Riley called them, from his latest penciled prescription. The completed mixture was of a vile, mottled chocolate color. McQuirk tasted it and hurled it, with appropriate epithets, into the waste sink. 'Tis a strange story, even if true, said Con. I'll be going now along to my supper. We'll take a drink, said Riley. We've all kinds, except the Lost Blend. I never drink anything stronger than water, Con said. I just got back from seeing Miss Catherine by the stairs. She said a true word. There's not anything, says she, but it's better off for a little water. When Con had left them, Riley almost felled McQuirk by a blow on the back. Did you hear that? Riley shouted. 2 fools are we. The 6 dozen bottles of Apollinaris we had on the slip. You opened them yourself. Which barrel did you pour 'em in? Which barrel, you mudhead? I believe, said McQuirk slowly, 'twas in the second barrel we opened. I remember the blue piece of paper pasted on the side of it. Well, we've got it now, cried Riley. That's what we lacked. 'Tis the water that does the trick. Everything else we had right. Hurry, man, and get 2 bottles of Apollinaris from the bar while I figure out the proportionments with me pencil. An hour later, Con strolled down the sidewalk toward Keneally's cafe. Thus faithful employees haunt, during their recreation hours, the vicinity where they labor, drawn by some mysterious attraction. A police patrol wagon stood at the side door. 3 able cops were half carrying half hustling Riley and McQuirk up its rear steps. The eyes and faces of each bore the bruises and cuts of sanguinary and assiduous conflict. Yet they whooped with strange joy and directed upon the police the feeble remnants of their pugnacious madness. "They began fighting each other in the back room," explained Keneally to Con. "And they were singing, too. That was worse. Smashed everything pretty much up. But they're good men. They'll pay for everything. They're trying to invent some new kind of cocktail, they was. I'll see they come out all right in the morning." Con sauntered into the back room to view the battlefield. As he went through the hall, Catherine was just coming down the stairs. "Good evening again, Mr. Lantry," she said. "And is there no news from the weather yet?" Still threatens rain," said Con, slipping past with red in his smooth, pale cheek. Riley and McQuirk had indeed waged a great and friendly battle. Broken bottles and glasses were everywhere. The room was full of alcohol fumes. The floor was variegated with spirituous puddles. On the table stood a 32-ounce glass graduated measure. In the bottom of it were 2 tablespoons of liquid, a bright golden liquid that seemed to hold the sunshine a prisoner in its auriferous depths. Con smelled it. He tasted it. He drank it. As he returned through the hall, Catherine was just going up the stairs. "No news yet, Mr. Lantry?" she asked with her teasing laugh. Con lifted her clear from the floor and held her there. "The news is," he said, "that we're to be married." "Put me down, sir," Catherine cried indignantly, "or I will—" "Oh, Con, wherever did you get the nerve to say it?" And that concludes O.Henry's 1905 story called The Lost Blend. Postscript. Apollinaris is a brand of German mineral water now owned by Coca-Cola. Now that you've heard the story, how much would you pay for a bottle of the Lost Blend? This is John T. Rhapsodes, Esquire, purveyor of awesome old-school audio stories. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story and would like to hear more, please help me earn the warm embrace of Mr. and Mrs. YouTubes who look with loving favor upon those channels whose listeners faithfully subscribe, like, comment, click the notification bell, and share the videos with their friends so that they too can hear the words of old.